What's up guys, it's Jordan here back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Nintendo Switch this week. This week's cutoff points are the 8th of October until the 15th of October, so a little bit of crossover with last week's episode. Showing you the good, the bad, and the weird, whether they're Western retail releases, Asian imports, or low print run games, we've got them all. Well, we try our best. As per usual guys, you need to show your support for this series. Your comments are what drives this series onwards. If you guys comment, these will keep coming. This is a fact. If you don't, well, I'll just assume you've all got bored of me. So let us know which of this week's picks have taken your fancy, if any. If not, what will you be playing in your backlog? I'm sure it must be packed. Also, what recent additions did you get for your collection? As you may have seen from my review last week, my latest addition is Super Robot Wars V, a must-have import in my opinion. I'm very happy to have this one in my collection. How about you? Before we get into it, don't forget that below are all the links you need to find out where to purchase these games that we mention here today. That really helps support us if you're going to buy them anyways. We now have links for America, we have an Amazon store for our fellow Brits, and of course imports links for those pesky region exclusives. Right, let's get on with it. Actually, before we do, I do need to do some tidying up from last week's bit of carnage. In last week's episode, I brought up the Trine Ultimate Collection. In that segment, I failed to mention that Trine 1, 2, and 3 are actually download codes and not on the cartridge as I was led to believe. I'm sorry for not pointing that out, but during my research, Amazon UK and Play Asia both failed to mention this, which is weird, especially since Play Asia are usually really good at this sort of stuff. The box art did not indicate it either. Many of you were very nice to point out my oversight, so thank you. We try to be as 100% correct as possible, so please continue to let us know if there are any discrepancies. Also, many of you were asking about Northgard, and I was led to believe it was due mid-October due to the publisher's website saying so. But literally 5 minutes after I published last week's video, Juan popped up to piss on my parade to show me what just turned up in his post that morning. Yep. But this is the signature edition, which the publisher kindly sent him early to unbox for you guys, and you get a soundtrack and some lovely pins. So I didn't miss it after asking the publisher. This is releasing on the 8th of October in the US and the 11th in Europe. They do some really good stuff. But they also do a standard edition if you just want the game and don't need any of the extra stuff. Anyways, Juan is a big fan of their releases and he's a collector like myself, so his approval is enough for me. Go check out their stuff. On the 10th of October, North America is lucky enough to be getting Spirit Hunter NG, a horror adventure game which I believe is a prequel to Deathmark, which we already got. If you're looking for something a bit disturbing for this Halloween month, then this might be a nice option if you're into visual novels. I mean, it does look creepy. Friends in Europe, it looks like you have to wait a little bit longer, supposedly before the end of the month, but we will keep you updated. I mentioned last week that the Alliance Alive HD was releasing in America, and this week it's releasing in Europe. RPG fans, if you don't have enough on your plate already, then prepare your wallets for the 11th of October. Is it releasing? Is it really? You know, and the subtitle that's too long but it's probably an awesome game was released a couple of weeks ago in North America. It was delayed in Europe to last week and then to this week on the 11th. Hopefully. Anyways, we'll see. I'd rather not have to keep mentioning it again. I can only do that subtitle joke so many times, guys. Come on, you're killing me here. On the 15th of October, classic RPG fans, get that coin purse out because we've got some massive stuff for you guys. An ungodly quadruple whammy of some of the best Dungeons & Dragons style games ever created. We're getting 2 double packs on the very same day. In one pack we've got Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, and in the second pack we've got Planescape Torment and Icewind Dale. 4 legendary games arriving in one day. That is mental. I mean, I have no personal attachment to them since I was never a PC gamer, but the excitement from their target audience was palpable. When they were announced, you could just feel it in the air. Let us know, guys, who's picking these up on the 15th. Zombieland Double Tap Road Trip is releasing on the 15th of October. It's a movie tie-in to, well, the Zombieland Double Tap movie. A twin-stick co-op shooter. Looks like it could be decent couch co-op fun, although it is being published by Game Mill, which is always a bit of a confidence killer. Hopefully it won't just be a cheap cash-in, but considering I can't find a trailer and the screenshots look like complete arse gravy, We'll see. Moving on to my personal pick of the week, could it be any other game? I still can't believe The Witcher 3 is releasing on the Nintendo Switch. One of those releases that when the Switch was in its infancy, it was people's choice for a dream game, not that they had any hope of seeing it. Well, miracles do happen, angels exist, and I'm a convert. The Witcher 3 is releasing on the Nintendo Switch on October 15th. Crazy! A gigantic, lively open world, amazing character building and story, well worth a hit on the visuals to experience it on the Nintendo Switch. Have you guys played it before, and will you be picking it up on the Nintendo Switch? Let us know. We're expecting the physical release of Ninja Saviours this week in America, finally. It's been in Asia and Europe for a while now, but could 15th of October be America's time? We're fairly confident, but who knows after so many delays. Rounding off this week's physicals, now you can't see me right now, but I'm doing air quotations because the physical release of Overwatch, which releases on the 15th of October, is just a code in a box. There's no cartridge to speak of, which is always a damn shame, but I guess it's not the end of the world since as an online-only game that's constantly evolving and changing, and a cartridge would quickly be out of date and unusable in the future anyway. So I do understand. Okay, now let's head into some uncertainties. Honestly, this week has been a tough one for me. I've been begging certain publishers for more info and clarification. Misinformation, contradictory information has been rife this week. Being 100% correct is not easy, guys. It's been a rough week of research, but I think I've managed to sort out things apart from just a few releases. We're starting with the biggest head scratcher. Doraemon, A Story of Seasons. This beautiful looking crossover farming simulator has some weird info surrounding it. In America, it's definitely digital only for the time being, but I've seen a whole lot of talk about a European physical release. A lot of people talking about it, but not a lot of evidence for it. I checked every UK site that I know, and not one has a listing for this as a physical release. Not one. Except Play Asia, they do state a European release, but am I inclined to believe an international company over actual UK sellers? I don't know. I want to believe them, but I am doubting. But fear not, because if it's not getting a physical release in Europe, it is 100% getting an Asian release with English on the cartridge. Boom! Another essential import. Bandai Namco Southeast Asia are our knights in shining armor. They do imperious work for us import fiends. I'll pop a link below as to where you can get that version if the European version doesn't pop up. North American fans will certainly want to use that link for sure. Go check it out. Another uncertainty is Everspace, a game that's already released in Europe. It's soon to be released in the US. Amazon US and Play Asia are stating October 15th, but Best Buy and GameStop are saying the 1st of November. I tried reaching out to the publisher Funbox Media over email and Twitter for clarification, but they didn't reply to me, at least before this video went into final production. So this one is an uncertainty, we will see. And the last one, Root Letter Last Answer was mentioned a couple of weeks ago for its American release, but it never came. Amazon US is stating October 8th, so we will see. I'm not massively confident, but I'm used to P-Cube having fluid release dates. It's already out in Europe, by the way. Okay, now let's delve into this week's low print games. Super Rare Games have announced their latest release. This time it's Evoland. Unusually for these guys, there is a bit of unclarity here. The game's listing is called Evoland Legendary Edition, but then goes on to describe Evoland 2. Is it Evoland 1 or 2 or both games together? Well, that's what people said, but either way, you're getting an interesting adventure RPG as you go through different eras of games, from a Game Boy to 16-bit to full 3D. It's certainly going to give you something different. Pre-orders open on the 10th of October, and shipping will begin around the 24th of October. Heading over to Limited Run Games, they've got a couple of games to offer. Firstly, Wonder Song is opening for pre-orders on October 11th. This musical-infused adventure platformer will definitely add some colour to your life. It's worth noting that this is part of Limited Run's official numbered release, so those kind of collectors will definitely want to get their hands on this one. Their second offering was announced just after last week's video. Theia The Awakening is being distributed by Limited Run Games. It's not part of their numbered releases. I'm not entirely sure the point or the difference, but it must be important to some. Okay, now let's head over to my favorite section, the imports. We've got quite a few this week. Previously mentioned in our video talking about upcoming must-have imports, we have another Play Asia exclusive releasing this week. They've been up for pre-order for a while but are shipping very soon. The double pack of Ghost 1.0 and UnEpic, 2 games in one. Juan reviewed Ghost 1.0 when it released digitally, what seems like forever ago, so check out his review to see what it's all about. There's a standard edition as well as a limited edition which includes a manual, soundtrack CD and a certificate. I have their Pato Box version of their limited edition stuff and it's really good for the money. If you're interested in importing this, since it has English on the cartridge of course, then the links are below for both editions. It ships on the 9th of October, my birthday, hurrah! Arc of Alchemist may be a title that is in desperate need of a the or two, but this compile heart RPG looks to be on the simpler side in terms of its action combat, but Japan seems to love their games as they often rock up to the top of the charts. But this is an older port of something that was released on the PS4 earlier this year. There's no English, so it's not particularly import friendly, but perhaps there will be a localized release later, although nothing has been announced so far. It ships on the 10th. Another week, another Idea Factory visual novel. It's tradition. This week we have Gensou, Kissa, Enchante, that's more easy to say than their previous releases, and both a standard edition and a limited edition which includes a poster, drama CD. There's no English, so no real incentive to import. In a bit of a surprise release, well, not really if you're aware of Level 5's financial troubles, but the first Yokai Watch is getting a HD port to the Nintendo Switch on the 10th of October. There's no English sadly, probably because the translation was done by Nintendo for the Western release, so they probably own it, but there is hope that this will make it one day westwards in the future. Although if it's anything like other Yokai Watch's localizations, we'll probably see it in about 5 years when all the sequels are already out in Japan and nobody wants this old one. Disney Tum Tum Festival is releasing in Japan on the 10th of October. Now it's already confirmed for a Western release, but I don't think a specific date has been set yet, and there's no real need to import this one as there's no English on the cartridge. The only real interesting thing about this is the console variant which is being released there. Yeah, apparently Tum Tum Festival is important enough to get a cutesy custom console. I mean, it's really expensive, but you do get the game with it, I suppose, so there is that. For those who can't help themselves, a nice colourful console. Plus, it seems to be the updated model with better battery life. And rounding off this week's interesting selection of imports is River City Melee Mac, another game that was included in our upcoming imports video due to its import friendliness. Kunio-kun is back in this arena brawler that's similar to like a Power Stone game or Smash Brothers a little bit. 4 characters, bash it out with dozens of items and all sorts going on. HD 8-bit sprites against 3D backgrounds. It's a cheap, cheerful release that's reflected in the price. Actually one of the cheapest imports that I've ever seen. So if you enjoyed the River City games back in the day and want a dose of nostalgia, then check out the link below. English is on the cartridge. Before we end this week's episode, I need to pick a random game of the week to highlight. And because it's October, I wanted to show off something a bit spooky, maybe a horror game. But looking at my collection, I don't have many horror games. But today I'm gonna go with Coma Recut, a peculiar purchase for me since I bought it after I reviewed it, where I told you it wasn't a very good game. And I still stand by that. It's a very flawed release, but one with some good ideas. I'm not sure why I picked it up, it was cheap I guess, plus I do like the idea, and I would like to support the makers to hopefully take the next step and improve their games in the future. I know this release does have its fans though, so you may want to check it out. And there we have it guys, all the physical releases releasing this week that we know about. If we missed anything, be sure to let us know as we want to be as definitive as possible. Please leave a comment to show your support and consider using the links in the description and pinned comment if you're going to buy something anyways. In the meantime, be sure to check out last week's episode as well as James's bargains video that was released on Sunday. I'll be back next week on Monday with next week's physicals. I'll see you guys next time.